I'm also a collectioner. I think you have to be a collectioner to buy physical format. I think we all are
I agree.
at some stage.
Yeah,
Collectionist.
no.
No?
No,
Yeah, no.
no. Let's do it. Let's try it another time. Let's do a clap for the show. 1, 2,
1, 2, 3.
Yellowtail.
So welcome to Sparkling Harmonies. We're your hosts, Lili
and François.
And we are two friends who don't really listen to the same genres or music, but
we are here to talk about everything and anything music related. Yay!
Yay! Today we have a guest. This time it's one of François' friends. So go ahead, François.
So we have a little bio for him. He's straight from Tracadie-Sheila in New Brunswick. He got a degree in visual and media art. He's currently working as a digital production project manager in the agri-food field, where he participates in the production, filming, recording, and editing of videos. You will probably judge me for this video. And he has a really strong interest in film documentary photography, and he pursues a personal process of documenting the Montreal music scene. So please welcome François Carl Duguay. Yay!
Hey! Thanks for having me on,
Is there
guys.
Anything else you'd like to add to that biography?
No, that was pretty thorough.
Yeah. So, like usual, we're going to start get to know your guests' questions to introduce them a little bit better. So, first question: what was your first album?
You know, I had to think. I didn't really have to think really hard, but I was wondering if I was gonna talk about cassettes that I may have had or CDs, and I have to go with the first CD that I bought with my own money. I try to find it. I have a box full of my CDs sitting right under my bed, and I tried to find it, and I didn't find it, and it was kind of sad. But I do have it in vinyl format.
Okay.
It was Prodigy.
Oh, that one.
Fat of the Land. So I did a bit of Googling, and I ended up on Wikipedia to just figure out how old was I when I bought this with my own money.
Right.
I was born in 86 and it came out in 97. So I was about 11 years old, still in primary school, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And why that genre of music, I really don't know. To tell you the truth, I was sold on the video clips that was running on Music Plus and Much Music. And it was the video for Breathe. Yep. So you have like 4 crack addicts in a crack house tripping out of their minds there's cockroaches, snakes, or I think there's like a crocodile on a bed. And it's really, really bizarre for a kid to watch and go, what's going on here? But the music had big beats and it's actually break beats, but I didn't really understand the music at that age. It was just like there's energy in it, and I guess I liked it. And I did have a tape before I bought it on CD. I was wondering, did I buy the tape first or was it the CD first? But someone must have taped it off. Or I bought the CD and then I made a tape for my cassette player.
Yeah.
But maybe, yeah.
But my first memory of a band also would have to be Green Day, which is another genre. And I did buy a Green Day album right after Prodigy. And I remember, you know, I was born in New Brunswick in Tracadie-Sheila, like my thorough biography said, like François just told. So I have a clear memory of my sister who is 6 years older than me. So she was a teen when I was just a toddler. So for a teen girl to have a poster of Green Day in her room in Tracadie-Sheila, that kind of tells you just how much Green Day was pop in in 94.
Yeah. That was their years, because I'm pretty sure
That's
Dookie
true.
went out in 94. Or
Yeah. That's my gut instinct. It's like, yeah, it's 94, but so it was Green Day. But the first CD that I bought with my money was Prodigy, The Fat of the Land. There you go.
I'm pretty sure I was like you, pretty curious about, because they were, like you said, everywhere, and they had a little edge. I remember the guy with the two green
Yeah, he
stripe
has
of
like
hair.
mohawks. Yeah, it's like
we're-
two mohawks, one blue, one red. Yeah.
so
He died recently.
Yeah.
Keith Flint. Yeah, a couple of years back. Yeah.
So
yeah. Sorry.
On that sad note, what is your?
Well, that's actually when he died. I actually went and got the LP.
The LP, okay, to celebrate. So, what is your most memorable experience with music?
That was so hard to pick just one. It's like
it always is.
It is so hard. I thought, well, maybe when I discovered music, or my first show, but and this will tie in with another episode that you've had. Have you ever traveled for a show?
Mm-hmm.
The first band that I ever did shoot photos for, or with, or by myself with them, not really for them. I hope I made myself clear, but it was a post-hardcore band called The Bled. And they play really like, it's post-hardcore, so it's a lot of screamings and distortion.
Yeah.
And
that genre that I always have trouble with, because I'm like, what is post-hardcore? Why post?
Well, because it came after hardcore, which is like a stance of heavy shouting. But I don't know. I'm not that keen on that genre. It's probably the only band I listen to, because it got tinged with emo for a while, and then I kind of pushed it aside, and then metalcore came into the picture and was like, nah, not sure. But The Bled, I shot them. Was my first band live that I shot, and it was at I should have prepared more. It was an old venue downtown, and I just fresh out of Tracadie Shylock down in Montreal, and I looked at the newspaper, was The Hour, I think. And I saw that The Bled was playing at the Rainbow. It was called the Rainbow, and I think it was in the Southwest. I'm not sure, but I got there, got off the metro station, walked to the venue, met the band, and I was like, "Hey, let me shoot your show." And they
wow.
agreed. And back then, you didn't have many.
It's a ballsy move.
Yeah, well, I had a hunger. That's why I moved to Montreal, just to go and see and live shows. I really had a hunger, and at that age, you don't really think about it. You just go and do stuff.
So how old were you?
17. Yeah, or I just turned 18.
Okay,
because it was in October. Anyway, that show was at the Rainbow, and was the first time I shot a band in a show setting like that. So I was just hopping on stage, going off the stage, shooting around. And back then, you didn't really have photographers. Nowadays, you go to a show, there's like always like 10 photographers shooting every show, because the cameras are more accessible. The digital format is more accessible than shooting film. Yada 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 yada. But back then, I was like the only kid around with a camera. There were some cameras in the crowd, but it was like snapshot cameras, Insta snapshot cameras. So yeah, that was like my most memorable experience. And the travel part was that I wanted to bring in was that for their final show, they in 2011 or 2012, I think, they were playing in London, in England, and they were supposed to do 4 nights in a row. And I thought, well, for 4 nights in a row, I might as well just fly over and go see the band. So I asked my girlfriend, I was like, "Do you want to come to London with me?" And she was like, "Okay, I'll go."
just a thing. I remember when you went there, and I remember to help to slip the trip to London to your girlfriend. You told her it was for Valentine's Day.
Oh yeah, well, I don't remember that at all. I guess it
if
was in
Aurélie is
February.
listening,
Yeah.
I hope you had a really great Valentine's Day with François Carl in London.
Yeah, and it was supposed to be for 4 nights, but then two of the shows were dropped and were booked elsewhere. So I had 2 more nights with Aurélie in London. But we had another friend come over with us. So because I was just like, okay, see you, bye. I'm going to the show, and spend the afternoon and the evening at the venue. Because my girlfriend, she does not put up with my music choice. So just like if she doesn't like the music, she won't come to the show. I won't twist her arm or nothing.
That's fair. That's fair.
And another tie into a previous episodes, like, do you go alone to shows like all the time? So that was my most memorable experience with shows. My first and final The Bled show.
Ah, cool.
Yeah.
François, you really need to hop on to the shows alone bandwagon.
I know. Martine is probably listening. My wife is probably listening right now, and she's just bugging me with that since the last episode when we talk about that. She's like, "You have to do it. Just do it. Come on, Lili. She's small. She's doing it alone, and you never did it before. So what are you waiting for?" Well, I don't know. Probably the end of the pandemic. Or
yeah.
first.
Well.
First, yeah.
So
yeah.
Sorry. Let's go.
No, okay. So what is your musical guilty pleasure? If you have any.
Yeah, well, François, actually, I think he tested that question with me before when he maybe wanted to bring it to the podcast, because he randomly out of blue asked me, "Hey, Carl, what's your guilty pleasure?" And I really had to think for a while. I was like, do I have any? I'm such a music elitist. Do I have? I'm not a music elitist, but
okay.
I was like, do I have guilty pleasure? And the first thing I thought was like 80s music. And I don't know if you remember, there was like a DIY movie that came like in early 2010s. It was called Kung Fury.
Yeah, with Michael Hasselhoff?
Yeah, David Hasselhoff.
Yeah, David, sorry.
And yeah. So the guy just did like a trailer of a badass 80s movie, and people were so much sold that they actually had a fundraising campaign to try and do a real short movie, not just a trailer. And when the funding was done, he actually booked David Hasselhoff, who has a singing career in Germany. He has like 6 albums. And when that video came out, I had that stuff on repeat. And still, when I do long drives for work, if I'm feeling drowsy, if I need a pick-me-up song, it's True Survivor by David Hasselhoff. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. I was pretty sure you were gonna say a gay bar.
Oh, yeah.
Because
well,
fun story is the only time I saw him sing. He went on the stage on a karaoke and sang that song. Like there were nothing else. He just jumped in and he stole the show for the whole night. That was perfect.
Wow.
I wish True Survivor would be in karaoke's. I would slay it.
Okay, so who is your artist of the moment?
Another hard question, but all things metal right now. There's one band that's upcoming that had a prior release in, I guess it was in 2017, and their sophomore album just came out in March. It's their debut on Metal Blade. It's called Dune, for Frank Snibert's Dune.
I like the cover art.
Yeah, it's done by Marold. He does a lot of pencils, je dirais crayon de bois, wood pencils. I don't know.
So colored pencils.
Yeah, colored pencils. And it's a metal band that combines all kind of influences of bands that I like, from doom, sludge to the post metal. with nice vocal harmonies. So there's some screaming, but there's also singing, and it's like I said, like doom, sludge, post metal, all mixed up, rolled into a prog concept. So it's progressive metal basically. But
it's a really great,
I think
great band.
I think people will be hearing a lot more from them. I think, their prior album Acheron was really good, sold me on the band, and that album was supposed to come out last March, but it was pushed back to this March because of the pandemic, and I was kind of bummed. But I'm glad that it's out now, and hopefully we'll see them around in Montreal.
And I hope the movie will help them to probably having some new listener. We don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. I actually thought like the themes were tied to the books, but they told me that no. So I guess I didn't listen hard enough on the first album, Acheron.
Because it's all interpretive, right? You can interpret something because if you think it's going to have a link, then you'll kind of just automatically make those links yourself.
Yeah, because the cover art, the cover art of the first album was like a guy with a spear singing in a desert. It was like, okay, he's hunting sandworms or something. And, guess not. But it's a full package. It's like there's a story from the first track to the last track. It's like an audio movie. And another great thing with LP albums, you just get to look at the artwork, which is tied into the story. So there's like it's a full package. So that's in metal.
But so just a little slipping in here. For those who are just listening, this episode might be interesting to watch either on YouTube or on Facebook, or just come and check out the little clips that I'm going to be making for Instagram, because we're going to be showing a lot of stuff in today's episode. And so, yeah. I had another album. I know I'm hogging time, but no, don't worry about it.
Like in jazz fusion, I listen to I've started listening to jazz fusion when I had kids, because I always listen to music when I'm cooking or during supper time or any time that I have free time. I'm listening to music, so I'm spinning albums. And for when we're actually eating and I need to put some music on, my metal music, I kind of felt it was like breaking the mood with kids. So I thought I'm gonna put on some instrumental music, and I was like, I'm gonna get into jazz. And I got into break beats from England. There's a huge like revival jazz. Well, it's not revival, but it's jazz fusion from England right now. Is really, there's so many artists doing great things. And there's a drummer called Youssef Days that just put out his first album under a trio with Rocco Palladino, which is the bass player, and Charlie Stacey, which plays the keys. And Youssef Days is the drummer. So it's kind of hard to see because the album is
holographic?
It
is. Nice.
And it's a live show, but it's his first album with that trio, and it's 1 hour of pure bliss to listen to. So, and the fusion part still gets me because, when you listen to a bit of prog metal, you'll get some weird stuff sometimes. And it's like jazz fusion is like the weird parts from prog metal, but extended, and that becomes your meat and potatoes, I like that stuff.
So interesting. And
so
what's your
Days,
song?
Get onto it. Oh, my song.
And what's your song of the moment? So it can be from another artist or it can be from them.
Yeah. They're from Above 1979. Just released an album. It's called Is for Lovers. and their latest single, is called 1+1. And I've been listening. I don't listen to songs. Okay,
So you're an album
I'm
listener.
I'm gonna put my hipster hat and swipe my scarf. I don't listen to songs. I only listen to albums.
Just to be clear, you're not an elitist. You said before.
No, I'm not.
But see, remember François? Remember Caro? Caro, who was also saying that she wouldn't listen to singles that much before an album came out because she'd rather listen to the whole album altogether. So it's kind of like that too.
But now the way
you still have to pick a song.
Yeah, the way I consume music is like through iTunes. We have like a family account, which we have like 6 people on it, and it costs $15 a month. So it's like an open bar. You can listen to whatever you want. So I just listen to albums that I like. I discover music, and if I really like it, I buy it on vinyl. So with all the bands now, what they do is they'll release a single beforehand. And so for that From Above album, I've had only one song to listen to 1 month prior the album release. And I've listened to 1+1 on repeat every day until it's been announced a month prior. So a whole month I've listened to the single. So that's my single of the moment is 1+1. And there's again with the video clips, I guess I like video. Like I said, I was sold on Breathe by Prodigy years ago. But that album, that single has a nice video, which was produced by, I think it's Sebastian Granger's wife. I'm so sorry, I don't remember her name. That's so lame because it's like, oh, the wife of, but
yeah.
I'm sorry, I forgot your name. But she made the video, and there's a David Hockney reference in there, which is again, I'm gonna wipe my scarf because I studied in visual arts, and the scarf is a requirement to go in the visual arts. But with my scarf, I'm just gonna say that the David Hockney reference was a nice touch. He was he's actually a painter. He's an English painter, and he didn't care really much for photography until he tried to recreate a 3D space with a 2D image. And by doing that, what he did, it was like, let's say I want to shoot François. I'm going to try and shoot him with multiple angles. So it's like a bunch of photos compiled together to try to recreate François in his 3D environment, but with 2D image. So that's my take on it. Maybe it's not that, but that's how I always read his work. So you just get to see, because often you get one photo and it's framed in a way, and your brain just reads the space how the photographer wanted to frame it. And there's one reading. But what he does is just like compiled a bunch of photos of the same subject, but in a different angles. So go and watch the video, and hopefully you'll understand what I mean. And I'm so sorry for Sebastian Granger's wife, which I forgot her name.
Okay, I have forgotten band member names from bands that I talked about that I like. So yeah, we're good.
Yeah, we had an episode where we're like saying just, I don't remember their name. I don't remember her name. I don't remember his name. So sorry.
Oh, yeah. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. There's a lot of names to remember. And what have you been listening to, François?
I did a little, I decided to take my Lili's part and having a phase. I jump into a new world for me. It's the instrumental music. I discovered Who Made Who. It's a Danish band. They did a live in Abu Simbel. I think I shared it with François Carl, probably remember. It's to me, I'm not saying it exactly that, but to me, it's like Pink Floyd live at Pompeii, but 2.0. So it's three guys in front of a, it's not a pyramid, but it's a temple, but don't quote me on that. And with the new technology, they have drones and stuff like that. So it's really nice because you see everything, every statue, you can see the whole desert around them. And it's beautiful. And okay, I don't have a scarf, but I will brag. I went to Egypt a couple of years ago, and we didn't have the chance to go to Abu Simbel because that was too dangerous. And that's just like nice to see that how it is, because it's really beautiful. It's like an hour and a half. So you see every part of the monument. So that was really cool. And with them, I discovered Mogwai. I know I'm probably really late to the party because it's not an old band, but they were there. Yeah. And they had a new album out called As the Love Continue. And I just try it, and seriously, I really enjoy it. So I'm probably on a phase on instrumental music.
I mean, at least your phase is different bands from the same genre. My phase is just one band.
So what are you listening to, Lili, right now?
I have been actually listening to, so With Confidence, which I'm wearing a shirt today. I always try to do that when I'm talking about a band. With Confidence, which is a Australian, I'm really bad at genres, so I'd say probably punk pop band or pop rock band. They just released a new song today called, let me just make sure I don't mess this up because I just listened to this. So Big Cat Judgment Day is the name of the song. Yep.
Okay, why not?
And so I was really excited because the last time they released an album was 2018. Since then, they've released a cover of Drops of Jupiter. They've released, I think, a single, but it was from a song from their 2018 album. So it's been a while since we've heard new music from With Confidence. So I was really happy to hear it. It's always, when it's been so long between albums, you never know where they're going to go sound wise.
Yeah. If they're going to change
Exactly, because people grow, and that's fine, that's normal, but you never know if you're going to still like what they're going to make, right? So this sounds very much like With Confidence. It does sound like like they've evolved a little bit, but I really like it, so I'm really happy, and I'm really excited. If they're releasing in this new album, this new single, then I'm guessing a new album is maybe on the way eventually. I know one of the guys made his own little studio in LA. So from what I understand, one of the guys is right now in LA. Two of the guys are in Australia. No, three of the guys. So they added their touring guitarist to the band officially with the release of this single. And so three of the guys, I think they're in Australia. So I don't know if they're like recording at distance like that, or if the guys are eventually going to come over into LA. But I'm excited for new music from With Confidence.
Nice. And oh, sorry, let's go.
I just want to say, like, it seems like bands are releasing like music like they can in this period. So maybe like they recorded one song and they're trying to push it out, and maybe it'll come back on an album later on. It's just such a weird time.
Maybe.
And I would like to take a moment to wish Lili a happy birthday.
No.
It was yesterday.
Oh, well, happy birthday. Belated birthday, I think we say. I'm not sure.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. By the time this comes out, though, it's going to be belated.
yeah. But we're there, so happy birthday.
Thank you.
Eva Michon is the name of the.
Oh, okay.
The woman who made the latest From Above video. I had to go online and check. Eva Michon, shout out. Sorry for referring to you as the wife as the other.
So now that we got to know our guests a little bit better, we're going to jump into today's conversation, which is about where and how we consume music now, because there's so many ways now, right? So where do we start? Do we start with talking about physicals?
Yeah, we can start with how we
Well,
start, maybe?
well, actually, I already kind of answered the question, and I didn't even know.
That's true.
But like, what I'll do is like with my iTunes, it can be whatever iTunes, it can be Spotify, it can be whatever. But it's a debate because people are paying for. Uh, it's like you're renting the music without paying the artist their fair due.
Yeah.
But I don't feel bad because, like I said, if I like your music, I'm going to buy your album. I'm going to go see you in shows. So it's like exposure. I know exposure doesn't really pay, but in my case, it's like if I like your stuff, it's like the same thing with Bandcamp. Like bands should put out their music on Bandcamp. If people like it, they'll probably buy it. And physical formats, I guess. But I don't know, do you guys buy digital also?
Yep.
I don't buy digital.
I do. But I do to encourage a band to because sometimes for whatever reason, for example, I remember already having Eisenberg CD. It's not a band, it's more a project. And I already had the album because for an unknown reason, I'm friend with the girlfriend of one of the guy, and she gave it to me. But I was feeling bad because the guy working their best to have an album out and to do shows. So I went to a show and I bought the album because it's a great album. I like the bands and I want to help them in some ways. I know it's not big. I didn't give them $1 million, but I tried to help them,
support them
in a way. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's still sealed. I didn't open it.
I have a few of those too. So I won't buy digital. I have a Spotify premium account. So that's where I'll listen to most of my music. But same as you, if I do like an album, usually either I'll buy it physically online and have it shipped to me, but CD form. So the CD, because I still buy CDs. Just to have them.
Update, do you listen to the CDs in your car?
No, my car doesn't have a CD player.
A lot of people I know are like, I listen to CDs in my car.
Yeah, we did.
But see, my car doesn't have a CD player. My computer doesn't have a CD drive anymore. I actually own a CD player because my friends bought me one when I got into K-pop last year. So I do listen to CDs a little bit, but just not as much. It's really just to own them and to directly support the bands. So most of the time, actually, like I won't even buy them online because I don't like paying for a CD $10 and have to pay $15 for shipping. So I'll usually wait to see them in concert and I'll buy the album there physically. And I think the money goes more directly to the band that way anyways. So that's what I usually do.
Well, I guess it depends. If you buy on Bandcamp, it goes straight. Well, sometimes it's the label, sometimes it's the band. But yeah, buying merch at a show is like the best way, I guess.
Yeah, and sometimes you see band that literally told you buy stuff because we want to eat.
Yeah, we need fuel. We need to go to the next city. It's like
I remember a couple of years back, I went to see a show of Guerilla Poubelle. It's a band from France, and they were trying to get into the United States. And when they arrived at the borders, the guy, I don't know, maybe he knew music, maybe, and he just asked them like, "Why do you have all this gear?" And say, we're playing music for fun. We're just going to see a friend because as musician in the United States, you have to pay for
a visa,
a working visa. So, but they got caught and and they seized all their gear.
Oh no!
So that was like the second day of their tour, I think, because they were landing in Montreal. They were doing a show for friends in Montreal after going to the United States and came back for a tour in Quebec province. And like some friends threw a show for them and everyone were giving money to them. And the guy was in front is like, it's not even my guitar, it's not even my amp, and it's not even our drum. It's like, we need the money because we want to buy some other stuff to go back to finish our tour because we have some engagement. So sometimes like buying stuff during the show really help people.
Yeah. But it's funny because that reminds me when I used to go to small bands shows in early like 2000, well, early. No, it's not really early 2000, like 10 years ago. So that back then, some of the bands I remember so just a little context here. My parents' house burned down in 2012, along with all of my CDs and all of my signed merch, all of my like accumulated guitar picks and drumsticks and posters and stuff. All that went down. So I remember I had Everly, this band, I think from Ontario. They had some like pre-release versions of their CDs where it was literally a burned copy of the CD and they wrote the album cover with Sharpie. And I had that. I bought that for I think $5 or $10.
Yeah, but
so but that because I knew that was like directly to help them.
Yeah, especially at this price. But if you go back, did you always choose like one format when you bought music, or you were all over the place? Because like François Carl said in the first part, you were buying CDs to copy them on cassette because you had a cassette player. So,
well, for me, I guess when I had a CD player, I asked my parents for a CD player. It was like this mini chaîne stereo. It was like you had like 2 speakers and a CD player with a pop-up in. And CDs were just the norm. And tapes, we were recording songs off the radio and I was doing mixtapes. That was fun. But we were buying CDs and doing cassettes afterwards. And I don't know about you guys, but I finally gave in and with the mail-in order for the Columbia House Club, CD Club.
François talked about that. I didn't do that, but François did.
And I got burned early on. It's like I chose 20 CDs and for free. I was like, oh yeah. I was like, what's the catch? Like
well, yeah, what's the catch?
And I got burned early on. And I was so pissed. I thought about it the other day. I was like, I got a Creed CD by the mail. And I was like, I did not choose that Creed album. And I forgot to, I don't know how it worked. You had to mail back the mailer card thingy saying, no, I don't want this month's selection. And I got the Creed first album CD and I was so pissed because $20 was a lot of money. And I was like, now that I think about it, I'm just spending money all the time. It's like $20, whatever. It's like, but you know, back at 12 years old, it's like $20. And I was like, I did not like that Creed CD. And I don't like Creed there, but I did listen to it because you have the CD, so I listened to it. I don't want to spend more time talking about Creed. I'm sorry, but Columbia House is what. But with Columbia House, 4 years afterward, I had like a pile of CDs laying around.
Yeah, I remember that, and there was like all the CDs I liked, and there was a little part where all the like the monthly selection or whatever that I forgot to mail back, or because back in that time, that was me, my mom, and my sister. So sometime someone mixed up it's called a stamp.
Yeah.
So someone mixed up the stamp. So someone, when the box arrived, like, whose CD is? I don't know. So I remember having like a little selection of CD that I don't want people to see, like at the bottom. So, but that's funny. I discovered band that way too. But like you, I remembered when I started listening to music, the CDs were kind of the thing. Like that was pretty new, but not that new, but more accessible. But they were kind of expensive, like $30, $35 for a CD. So I remember my parents bought me we used to call that a ghetto blaster, but I'm pretty sure it's not a real term. But like you said, a pop-up CD and 2 cassettes in front.
Yeah.
And I remember like borrowing CDs from friend or buying an album and put it on a cassette because I didn't have a CD player, portable one. So I had an old Walkman, and so I want to listen to it during my ride in the school bus and whatever. So, and it was cheaper to buy like a Virgin cassette. Sorry, a blank cassette.
Yeah.
Blank cassette, yeah.
That was cheaper. So most of the time, like one friend bought the new album of whatever the band, and everyone was copying it. So everyone had it on a cassette. And I don't know for you, I know they're coming back. This isn't
cassettes are coming back. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an old album, but reprint on a cassette. It's a band, a punk band from Winterland that I used to listen to a lot, and I still listen to it. But to me, as a kid who grew up with that, I don't understand the fun. I don't understand the hype. It's the worst support ever. You can't skip song. You can't go to other song. You have to listen to the whole side to go before going on the other side. I don't understand. It took place. It's really bulky. It's destroyed. Like, I don't know how many times I opened the little gate to see all the tape spinning out and taking a pen to roll it back, and discover that everything was like all twisted and you can't listen to it anymore. So so sorry, maybe it show my age, but I don't understand the hype for the cassette reborn or whatever. It's the worst thing ever. There's no fun. There's no fun.
It's a means to have some kind of merch. It's like there's some bands who won't, like Lili said, like sell burnt CDs, but you can for a minimum amount of money you can have like 200 tapes made, and it doesn't cost that much. So it's a means to have some physical format to sell at shows.
I think it's a collector's item more than an actual thing that people are going to actually listen to.
So you go to the merch table, you pick up a shirt, and hey, $5 for a tape. You pick up the tape. Yeah, it's a way to help out, I guess. Well, that's my take on it. Maybe people do listen to them, but
I don't think so.
I don't have a tape deck, so I can't listen. And
I mean, for me personally, I was a little young for tapes. Like, I started with CDs, basically.
Okay.
Like, I started with CDs. I had a CD player that was supposed to be anti-skip.
Oh,
but the moment you walk with it, it would skip anyways. And then after CDs, I had an MP3 player where I would burn my CDs into the MP3 player that could only hold like 20 songs, so I couldn't really put that much in there. And then when I got into my Japanese phase, that's when I downloaded MP3s and put them on my MP3 players.
You just got me thinking, oh my God, downloading. It's like, it opens so many memories of going like online with the dial-up and downloading a song. I remember downloading the new Metallica song from that movie Mission Impossible. You know, we were listening to Kill 'Em All and all, and it's so like new metal. Anyway, what was it called? LimeWire, Kazaa, Napster.
All those.
With a dial-up, the connection, it took us 45 minutes to download the song.
For a very small file.
Yeah. Oh my God. So many memories.
What I remember from that period of time, it's not like Spotify now or Bandcamp or whatever, but it's open the gates. Like I was more curious to discover things because I didn't have to buy it, and that. But that doesn't mean like stealing it. But I doesn't have to buy the album to actually listen to the whole thing and said, "Oh, finally, I don't really like that." So So I remember having the conversation probably with my mom or my dad. He said, "Yeah, but you're stealing it." Yeah, maybe, but at least like. I'm listening to it, and if I like it, I buy it. So it's like more of a showcase, I guess.
Yeah,
that wasn't perfect. But
once again, it's exposure, like we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, I know there's some band back then that was using it as exposure.
Like that they would leak it themselves.
Yeah, but I think
Steal this
Radiohead.
album.
Yeah. Radiohead and System of a Down did that like just the day before the big day.
Mhm.
Drop it on whatever it is, like Keza, whatever, Napster, and said it was leak, but like
Leaked.
yeah, but you have the perfect rip, like with great qualities, all the good name on the files. You have the picture of the cover, so it
Yeah.
was a really professional leak.
Mhm. But it's funny that you mentioned stealing, because I remember for my younger part of my life, when I used to go to old CD stores with my dad, like technically I never really supported the artist because I always bought the CDs secondhand.
Yep.
Oh, really?
Yeah. My
In-
dad and I would spend like afternoons on Mont Royal at all the old CD stores and just go through them. And I'd buy a lot of them.
There was an old ad saying, "You wouldn't steal a car." I think it was about movies, but you wouldn't steal a car. But record shops or music stores, I think they had listening stations which you could ask
Yes.
to listen to an album.
Mhm.
I'd never done it. I remember like there's displays where like there's 3 albums, but supposedly you could ask, "Hey, can you open this album? I want to listen to it." I don't know.
No,
I've never done it.
I never asked if an album I wanted to listen to was on one of those things, I would maybe listen to it. But I never asked like, my album's not there, can you like open it and put it in? No. I didn't think you could.
I don't know. Seriously, I didn't ask it either. But I remember where I'm from, the little shop. That was the electronic shop. That was the music shop. That was the instrument shop.
Yeah.
So they had a little bit of everything. And like I remember, like every band we used to like weren't there. So at the end, we didn't go because they didn't have like the new Primus album, the new Nirvana album, because the guy didn't want to have the kids came in. So he had like the new Eric Lapointe album, but that was it.
I used to buy albums off at Jean Coutu. Like Jean
Seriously?
Coutu, yeah, Jean Coutu had a selection of music, and I would get like Canadian rock artists.
Yes.
And I had like one music store in Tracadie. If not, we had to drive an hour to go either to Miramichi or Bathurst. So I had like, yeah, it was called AR Music, which is still running to this day. But
Nice.
I think it was like $25 an album, a CD. So that was kind of expensive, and Jean Coutu was a little bit cheaper, but you wouldn't find like Neurosis in the 90s like at Jean Coutu. So my exposure to music was like whatever was accessible. So that's a point for Napster, like you said, Francois, to be able to, well, the internet, I mean. Now it's we don't even think about it, but it's insane amount of stuff that we can just at the reach of fingertips on the keyboard just to go in.
It's crazy. And I mean, now, so I personally, so you said that you use iTunes. Francois and I, we use Spotify a lot. And I feel like I'm always scared that one day some of my albums are going to disappear from there. Because this is about a month ago. There was this dispute between Spotify and this big distributing company from Korea.
Okay.
And on one day, half of K-pop from Spotify disappeared.
Oh.
And it's a lot of K-pop.
It was gone. And finally, a few days later, they got an agreement and they put it back. But like the 2 bands that I listened to weren't part of those, but there were other bands that I was like, wait a second, are they? And then I looked and I was like, oh wait, no, they're gone. And then another, oh wait, they're gone too. So I'm always scared, and I think that's partly why I still buy physical copies, because if they ever do disappear, then at least I'll still be able to listen to them myself, even though CDs sometimes they don't really hold up to the really times that well. Yeah.
And it's probably a con to online streaming stuff, because not only there's like you said, dispute, and probably they will remove some album from the catalog, but there's also bands. Like I have those old CD when I was a teenager. I can't find them anywhere. Like there's no Bandcamp, there's no nothing. The band disappear. Not this one. This one is a compilation, but this band disappear, and I'm pretty sure the first album wasn't available anywhere. Like a couple of weeks back, I talked with a friend about a band, and I didn't remember a song, so I went on Spotify, typed the name, and I was like, no, they have more than 2 albums. I'm pretty sure. Went on Wikipedia. Oh yeah, where's the first album? And like you said, maybe there was a dispute. Maybe that was another
label or something.
So this song doesn't exist anywhere. But I can dig. But I mean, I have to look for it, and I'm like, oh, but maybe there's many other bands that disappear between 2 lines somewhere, and I won't have them anymore.
Well, like a lot of the small Canadian bands that I used to go to shows with in 2009, 2010, these are bands that released maybe 1, 2 EPs, and then they decided to not continue to pursue music. I had their CDs back then, but now you can't find them anywhere.
Yeah.
They're not on Spotify. They're not on YouTube. They used to be on MySpace, but I think MySpace deleted everything like a few years back. So those bands are gone. And
But sometimes you can be surprised. I remember talking with a friend about Seaside Shivers. It's a acoustic grunge band from Saint-Jean-sur-Richelieu. And he said, oh, I have this guy on my Facebook. He was a singer. I will ask him. And he asked him, like, do you still have copies of the album? And the guy said, no, but I have all the MP3s. So he sent us all the MP3s. And I'm like, oh, nice, because I lost the album. So yes, I still have it. But that's now true. I lost that computer. So
oh, it's true that I do have a lot of those people on Facebook if I ever want to get them back. But I don't know. And because some of these bands I remembered that I really liked back then. And then I listened to one song and I'm like, I understand why they didn't continue.
But like all those listening experience to me are different. I did a little bit about against the cassette stuff, but to me, one doesn't exclude the others. Like if I listen to a vinyl, it's not the same thing as listening to an album when I'm working. Like I want noise in the background and enjoying as much as possible. But if I do want to listen to a whole album, I put it like on the table, I spin it, like I will listen to the whole thing because I enjoy the process. And for someone that never opened a vinyl, okay, I have it show my age. And whoops, I have to censor it because we've got to be on YouTube. So but
you can put a little sticker on it when you're going to edit the video.
A little eggplant. But the fun part is to look at the whole thing because they put pictures. I don't think in this one but sometimes there's a book. There's lyrics. There's lyric. There's I think I have one with a magazine they print only for the vinyl stuff. So you have it's jokes, but you have like the story of the band, the story of the recording and stuff like that. But you can't find that nowhere else. So listening to the album each time was like, oh yeah, there's this. So I'm reading it and rereading it each time. So
are you sure nobody scanned it?
Let me show you. I don't know if you see it properly, but the band's called Les Marmottes Aplaties. It was a college band when I was in high school, college. If you see at the picture, it's really a guy with toilet paper on him and paint. So it shows you the budget they had.
No, but I mean, somebody can take that. Somebody who bought it can take it and scan it.
I'm not sure the scene is big enough, but the fun part, I went to the show when they re-released the album on vinyl, and I steal the set list.
Yeah, I do that.
And I put it on the vinyl. So I had stuff. I had goodies to my vinyl.
To put in there.
It's my own personal VIP copy.
And François Carl, so you were saying that you will listen on iTunes, but then if you like it, you're going to buy the album on vinyl. Do you listen to the vinyls, or do you still mostly listen on iTunes?
Well, like when I work, I'll listen on iTunes or when I'm in the car. But as soon as I have a downtime in my day that I'm near my turntable, I'll put it on and I'll spin it. It's like part of the fun. Like we could do like pros and cons of each formats, but one of my pros for vinyl, and it's like, for vinyl, the pros and the cons are going to be pros for someone and are going to be cons for someone else. It's like, it's really is to each his own, because like I was going to say, it's active listening. You really have to actively listen to the album, because you're going to need to flip it. It's like the A side, the B side, the C side, the D side. And for physical limitations, sometimes bands, you're limited to, let's say, 20 minutes of runtime per sides. If the album is too long or whatever, they'll just put like 2 songs on each sides, and you basically have like 10 minutes aside. And that's kind of, for me, I'd rather have longer songs, but it depends on the band and the genre and everything, because going on and putting it on and just spinning it, and you have to flip it like 10 minutes right after. I'm like, give me more. But
I have a good example.
That's part of my pro,
I have a good example.
I don't have to wait. Okay. Oh yeah. Dope smoker.
Yeah. If you look on the back, there's one song on side A, B, and C. The same song. It's an hour song. So you have to flip it 3 times to listen to one song.
The whole song.
Yeah. And on the
there you go.
side,
my
you have the rest of the album.
Oh wow. Okay.
I can say I have that on vinyl. I have the second press with the original artwork. But so active listening is one of my pros. Like, my dream is I collect stuff, and is one day I'll own a house, and I'll have a dedicated listening room with a couch, 2 big speakers, my turntable. That's my end goal. That's my retirement end goal.
Right. And so are you like François? Do you go like, do you flip through the cover? Do you look at the art? Do you?
Yes, but I'm a different breed, because
okay.
Okay. Take out your scarf.
It comes down to which kind of collector are you? Are you like a picky collectioner, a completionist, anything goes? Are you a hoarder? Like,
anything goes.
For me, I'm more picky, I guess.
Okay.
I guess I would say more picky, but I'm also a collectioner. I think you have to be a collectioner to buy physical format. I think we all are
I agree.
at some stage. Collectionist.
Yeah, no.
No?
No. No. Seriously, I because I know both of you, and I hope we will be able to talk about that, because I think it's the more interesting part, that you are both big collector. It's
collectors, yeah.
Collectors,
collectioner is the French version.
But I am not, seriously. I'm more like a junkie. I think everything goes. Like, I don't care. But I don't have like.
So my the question was, do I handle?
You flip through it, yeah.
You flip through it. I will flip through it once or twice.
Okay. See, that's kind of like
it because I don't want to touch it, because I wash my hands before.
Do you put gloves?
No, I don't put gloves, but I'll definitely wash my hands, because I'm cooking, so I don't want to put grease, or I have a greasy forehead. So if I have grease in my hair all the time, but if I touch it, my fingerprints on the black album, I can't stand it. So I'm always, I'll flip through it, but very delicately.
I'm guessing that these aren't taken out when the kids are around.
They have like a strict rule. It's like dad's stuff, you don't touch it. And they have their own. Like they have Moana, they have the Jungle Book, they have the Smurfs, they have a bunch of stuff. Frozen. They have a bunch of stuff. But even then, when I buy an album, I'll often replace the sleeves for better sleeves, not the paper ones. And I always put the albums in the outer sleeves to protect them.
Wow. And
I store them away, but I do listen to them because there are some kind of collectors. Yeah, there are some kind of collectors who don't even listen to it.
Yeah.
And they won't even peel off the shrink. No. They'll just keep it like toys collectors. But I do listen to it. It's like part of the fun is to know that, and I'm a sucker for all stuff that's limited edition. Like I have a collection. Scarf. I'm not an elitist scarf, but I do have a collection. And if your album is going to go in my shelf, it has to have some kind of value. It's like I won't buy any reissue or any repress of an album. I'm interested in the facts. Like, where did this album come from? Where was it pressed? When?
That's why I really want to dig into this. So, like I said, I really want to hear both of your views about collecting the music. Like, I would not say format, but like the thing. It's not just CDs or LPs. There's some stuff around. There's more. And I want to hear you both about that.
Well, so for me, before getting into K-pop, I would always buy, like, the main would usually release a bunch, like some books and stuff, and I would always buy all of them when they release it with an album. But since I got into K-pop, this is like another world of collector's stuff. So I'm going to show you a few examples here, but most K-pop albums, first of all, have more than one version. Okay. The albums are the same, but it's the artwork, the booklet. It's different, completely different. Like, not just a few pictures different. It's a completely different photo shoot. And so that makes people want to buy all of them. And so Day 6, which is one of the bands that I listen to a lot, they have usually two versions of an album. So it's not that bad. BTS has like 5. And it's just one of their concepts for a few of their albums was if you collected all 4 and you put them all together, it spells out love.
Okay.
And then the next set spells out your, and then the next set spells out self.
So that's 12.
12, but 12 times 3, like 3. So this is 3 different albums. It's the Love Yourself era, but it's 3 albums. So the first album is Love, second album is Yours, third album is Yourself. And I think for those, like, it's all the different shades, so that it makes it super cute. Personally, I have not gotten into that point yet. My goal right now.
No, but I like the fact that you already know you probably jump in.
I don't know. I didn't get that far for Day 6 yet either.
Well, the thing is, it comes down to money, I guess.
Yeah.
Is like, how much are you willing to actually pay for all that stuff?
So paying for it, if I was in Korea, wouldn't be that bad. Because Day 6's albums, they retail around sometimes 15 to like 30. And when I say album, I mean like, so this is one of Day 6's albums. This is the last Day 6 album. It's a book. But it's actually like, let me just make sure I don't drop anything. So it comes with a postcard, a little like bookmark card, another little card, the outer jacket was a poster. And when I say photo book, I'm trying to see how do I show this? It's like
An actual
it's a
book.
full photo book. So this was like $15-$20. But then you add $25 of shipping, $10 of customs, plus $25 of freaking ships, custom fee, brokerage fees that I get really mad at. And in the end, it ends up costing me $70 for something that would have cost $15 if I was in Korea, which makes me so mad.
At first I balked. I was like, okay, no. There was this release from Alchemist. I talked about the fusion, jazz fusion early on the episode, but Alchemist, I discovered him through iTunes. He was recommended through the jazz playlist, whatever. Really liked his album. I was like, okay, I'm gonna import it, and I missed out on the first pressing. I think that's the thing in with vinyl. That format is pressings. How many pressings are there? Because people with limited budgets often will press 500, 200. And now even if you have all the money in the world, you're still going to want to do a limited 100, 200, 300, 400, 500 pressings because that's where the fun is. But for Alchemist, anyway, I missed out on the first pressing. And I was like, okay, I'm going to get, and the prices were already going up. That's the thing. That's how you trick your brain. Listen to me. It's an investment. Okay?
I don't say that though.
That's how you're going to trick your brain. No BS here. I bought this album, 60 US plus shipping. It came to $80 Canadian. And
so it's the first press, this one.
Yeah, it's a first press. It's the only pressing. It's limited to 500 copy. Okay.
Wow.
My Dune here is limited to 100.
Wow.
So it's not even the prettiest variant. I'm a sucker for small numbers because the small numbers, sometimes they're not the prettiest, but I like small numbers. Anyway, Alchemist. The second pressing was announced, and since it's from England, you have to convert pounds, which 30 pounds plus 20 pounds shipping is 50 pounds. It comes to freaking $90. I was like, that was the first time. I was like, am I buying $100 for an album? And I'm not making that much money. Okay. And I'm irresponsible with my money. I have this on tape. The truth is out. The truth is out. Sorry, honey.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I would have to talk with your girlfriend.
So I was like, am I really going to pay $90 for an album that I'm already listening to it on iTunes? And
yeah, that's the problem. Me too.
So I didn't buy it. I didn't get the second pressing. And it stayed on my mind. You should have bought the second pressing. You should have bought the second pressing. What? You're going to be stuck with a third pressing? A lousy third pressing? Not the second pressing? So when the third pressing was announced, I paid the $90 because I wanted it. It's like, I don't know. It's my brain wants stuff. And when you get it, it's a hunt. It is a hunt. And marketers, they know how to, like I said, trick your brain. But your brain thinks, oh, I'm helping out this artist. I'm buying stuff. I'm helping out the scene.
But see, you are, but not the shipping fees, not the custom fees. That's what really gets me. That's what really annoys me.
And the third pressing was a special orange limited one. It's really pretty. I'm really happy with the third pressing of Alchemist.
We have it on tape. Because I'm pretty sure in a couple of months you will say, "Oh, I got a first one finally."
No. That's the thing. I'm not a completionist. Like you have people who will buy
the whole thing.
Love yourself
on Instagram. Just go and check. Some people with their Opeth collection is insane. They have 40 variants of the same album. It's like they have like one album. Well, if I would do it, it was like I would choose like one album, maybe from Motorhead or something, and I would buy them all. There's one lady on Instagram. Is called her account is Mistress of Reality, and what she does, she just showcases all the variants she owns of Black Sabbath's Master of Reality, and it's insane. And that's the detail that I love. It's like, oh, look at this. This pressing was a bootleg off of Korea. It came out in '81. You can recognize it with the labels, the code number, whatever. All these little details, the nuance from different pressings to pressings. I'm not a completionist. I'll only pick one. I'm picky. So I'll get one that I like that speaks to me, and I'll aim for that one. I'm just not gonna walk into a store, and if it's a reissue, it has to have some kind of value or something added value. Added value. Like Green Day just released Insomniac for their 25th anniversary, and I'm thinking of picking it because it has a live album with it, and it's remastered. It's yada 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 yada. But yeah, that's how you trick your brain. It's an investment, like pressings.
No, so I do not say it's an investment, because for me, these albums are not investments. Like, I am 100% sure. But sometimes I one of the bands I listen to, which is The Main, they've got vinyls. And every once in a while, I'm like, oh, I wish I had gotten into that. But then I see the resell value, the resales of these.
Yeah.
It's like $300, $400 for a vinyl that at the beginning was like $30, $40. And even they get really mad at people for doing that, because they're like, it's not worth that, guys.
Oh, I was going to say, for my Youssef days, yeah, that's like I paid 80 Canadian for it. But right now on the resale market, they're all $300.
Yeah.
And not one sold yet. But as soon as one sells, that kind of sets the standard. So, Discogs is a wonderful place when you're looking for information, but it's kind of like a bubble. If you're the first one to put an album, I think that album is worth $250, and then the second one comes in, that one's selling $250, I'll put $245. So, and you have some people who's just like, nah, $400, one day I'll sell it. So you really have to be picky and choose what you're buying on there. But you can find anything. Like I told earlier, I bought a Smurfs album for my kids. I found it from France because we watched the movie. It's like, they like La La Schtroumpf La La. I was like, I'm going to buy that. Went on Discogs. 20 minutes later, I bought it for $12, and it came shipped at my door. And now we listen La La Schtroumpf La La on my on my turntable.
That's so funny.
But that's funny because, like, it goes to a point. In your case, François Carl, what do you prefer, the hunt or the listening part?
Oh, it is, like I said, it depends on what kind of collector you are. My major pro is active listening. I listen to them, I cherish them, but I actually listen to them. I just don't seal them away. But the hunt is what's on my mind, and that's because I'm mainly brainwashed by all the social medias and everything. Because what I consume is like music news. It's like, what bands, what new album is coming out? This new album. And labels have accustomed us to a way of buying things, like Relapse Records. They'll always release an album on a Wednesday at 11 a.m. There'll be a pressing limit to a 100 it'll be a pinwheel variant. So you just know what's coming. Like, okay, the next album is coming. What you want to know is, when is the pre-order date? What time? What time? What's the date? When does it come out? There's a single, there's a pre-order. How many pressings are there? What are the numbers? And then you're on the hunt. And if you're able to buy that one pressing that'll be available from 10:59 to 11 past 3 minutes, in that 4 minutes ratio, there's like 500 albums sold. And maybe you were the one who controlled F5 game is on point, and you snag the one that's limited to 100, and now you're the happy owner of 100 limited release by Relapse. And these are the ones that are going to go in price. I'm never going to sell them. My daughters,
So
maybe
it's
one
not-
day.
So it's not an investment.
It is some kind of, yeah, it is. But one day when I die,
Wow.
maybe they'll keep the Motorhead section, but they can sell it off if it's not just a bubble that's going to burst. Because one of the cons, we've talked about shipping, but it's the price also. When I started the collection, my first album I bought was a vinyl that I found in a secondhand store of 1755. It's a legendary Acadian folk rock prog band. And I just saw it and I thought, oh, I'm going to buy it because it's 1755. It reminds me of home. It's just a nice collector's item to have. And my girlfriend's from Rimouski, and we were going back at home in New Brunswick, and we stopped at her home, her mother's home, and she had her father's pickup, which is like a turntable integrated into it's a meuble, it's a furniture with two speakers and a turntable. And I was like, oh, that's nice. I had just bought an album, so I was like, do you have any LPs? And she was like, yeah. And I started playing with it, and the next thing you know, she gave it to us. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have that shipped in Montreal. So we shipped it to Montreal. One of her uncles gave it a lift with his pickup. So I had a pickup in my living room, and I was like thrilled. I'm like, okay, it's on. And that's when I discovered record stores in Montreal. I went to the Sound Central, bought my first album there, met Sean, which is like a legend in the scene. Shout out to Sean and Sound Central. And even if now I don't shop as much into shops because label want us to buy limited stuff, so I always buy online. But in the collection I brought, you would find albums at your parents' house, at your grandmother's house. Albums were just laying around.
Free.
Yeah, free.
And I would walk on the sidewalks. I have many albums which is junk. I'll admit it. But like Scarf, I said earlier that now I don't have the space, so I'm really I'm really being picky with my albums. But you would find albums laying out on the sidewalks. So that was one of the pros, is that vinyl used to be cheaper, but now since the interest has gone up, the major labels are all hogging the time in the pressing plants with their huge orders. So pressing plants are giving more time to bigger bands with bigger budgets. It's getting harder and harder to get your album pressed on vinyl. So that's one of the reasons why maybe cassettes is coming around. But the price is like 15 years ago, an album would be $15, $20. At a show, you would pay $15. In stores, you would pay $20. And now all double albums are like 35 is the floor. If it's an import, then you go to 45. It's like, what? Like the single releases, you can still find single release from major labels around $25 in stores. But other than that, now almost all albums are double albums because, like I said, there's a limited amount of sound that you can put on each side. So a 30 minutes album, 15 minutes on A and 15 minutes on B, that's fine. You can put in a single jacket. That'll reduce the cost. But if you're not ready to pay like $40 for an album, don't even walk into a store.
So it's a good advice for Lili. Don't buy.
It's okay. I mean, I have enough with trying to collect K-pop stuff now. I mean, for me, like I said, I don't really listen to the physical albums that much because it's just so easy to have them on Spotify. However, I do enjoy flipping through my photo books. I know there is a big collector's market for photo cards because, let me find some. Usually the CDs come with like these tiny little photo cards. Like they all have it. Sometimes they'll have multiples. So each release depending on the version, you'll get X, 1 out of X amount. And then there's four versions. So then there's that many photo cards. And then they'll re-release an album because they're new with new photo cards, but the exact same photo book this time. And I see people on Instagram selling these photo cards, these tiny little photo cards for like $100.
Because you missed this one.
Because some of them, they want to collect their favorites. So they want to have all the cards from that album from their favorite guy from the band. And so like this guy is the most popular for BTS. So he's the one whose cards always goes for like super expensive.
That's like the Wayne Gretzky of hockey cards.
Exactly. But it's crazy because that is something that I don't comprehend. Like I understand wanting to own all of them, all of the different photo books, because these are multiple pages of photos. But from there to try to hunt for a specific photo card, that is something that I don't understand for now. I don't think I will ever understand this though, honestly.
But do you think the pandemic situation helped or worsened that kind of phenomenon?
No, this was already there. This was already there, and it was already pretty intense before.
Because I see many stuff like all the guitar gear, all the video game, because my wife playing retro games, so you can't buy a game for like $16,000 if you want to. Like I think maybe now, because you don't have nothing else to think, maybe people getting into new passions or new hobbies.
Maybe for other things, yes. But definitely for like Korean band photo cards, this has been going on for years. That's why they still make them, and that's why they still do this all the time. But what I appreciate, and it's funny because I don't like, I'll open it, I'll look at the photo card, I'm like, yay, and then I put it back in, and then it's gone for like the next year. I'm probably going to open these once a year. But for somebody who will, it's funny because my boyfriend just passed next to me and he was shaking his head. He's like, no, you're not.
Stop lying.
But like, for people who don't feel bad about using these, and some people will actually like buy 2 versions to have one that they're going to actually use, because some of these comes with like stickers. So, you know, if you're using an agenda or something, you can stick them in your agenda, and that would be really cool. But I personally will just leave them on those forever.
Yeah.
But it's funny because going back to the card collectors, usually for K-pop albums, they'll also have like an event where if you buy an album, you have a chance of getting, like last year was getting a video conference call for like with one of the guys, let's say. So
nice. Interesting.
I know people who will buy 20 albums.
Oh, yeah.
Just
to have more chances. Exactly. But I also know people who will buy 20 albums to try to collect all the cards they want.
Yeah, but
and then they'll resell the stuff, because there are a lot of albums reselling on the internet without photo cards.
Yeah, that's a whole other game.
So it's like a no photo cards included.
So that's what I said. You're gonna discover a new hobbies, maybe, or a new.
I'll just still pick one. It's like my rule is like one album, which is don't necessarily true because I have multiple version of a certain albums, but my goal is just to pick one and pick the one that I like. Cult of Luna recently, they launched their own label and they released kind of that in the same manner. There's like right off the bat, there's 10 different variants, but they're all limited to the same amount. So I was like, what do you mean they're all equal? So I was like, well, what's going to drive the price in these releases? I was like, is it just visual aesthetics? And I was like, okay, I have to pick the one. I have to choose my own aesthetics. And I ended up picking up the one that sold out earlier. So I was like, okay, yes, I picked up the right one.
Great job.
Because yeah, it's part of the fun. There's one subject that we didn't really touch is like the sound. Because one of the main driving force in vinyl is people will say, oh, the sound is just so more rich, more warmth is like the argument that comes up and often made fun of. Because I'm not a gearhead. Audiophiles, I'm a collector, but I'm not a gearhead and I'm not an audiophile. I want my stuff to sound good, but I'm not into the finer details of how do you connect all that electrical stuff. Like Francois would be more of a gearhead because he has a bit of knowledge in instruments. Like, what's the difference between a tube amp and my amp? I won't know the difference, or I won't notice.
Seriously, it's snake oil. Seriously. Yeah, there's difference, but most of the people are listening on their iPhone or whatever, so you lost, like, let's say the spectrum. Let's say it's the real spectrum. The vinyl probably have like 99% of that or so, but each time you compress for CDs, cassette, and cell phone, you lost. Yeah, you lost. But to me, like I said earlier, I'm like the junkie here. Probably I'm the most into music stuff, and I like all the process behind and everything. But at the end, what I like is enjoying the music. So if I listen to it on the cell phone, yeah, it doesn't sound as good. But if I am having fun with my wife or my friends, I don't care. Seriously, I just want to listen to the music. But if something sounds really bad, like really, really bad, I will notice it, seriously, even if I'm deaf. But
sure.
Yeah, I'm deaf on one side. But the fun part is enjoying the music. But I know, like you said, there's people that probably enjoy more the process and all, like you said, all the gear, all the nuances, and it's another world, Lili. If you want to jump in, it's another universe.
It's another death. Yeah, because I can get the fun though of trying different gear, different setup, and different range of gear, plugging it all to just listen to that album, and but the sound, like, there's some mean memes online about people who discovers vinyl and what they'll have is Dark Side of the Moon playing on a Crosley portable turntable, which is all wobbly and the speakers come out directly. Yeah, it's really cheap and it's kind of sad. But because they'll post online, they'll enjoy. There's really stoked, like, look at my new setup, and everyone's like condescending and like, oh, that's a crappy setup, and try get a real setup, whatever. But if whatever, just don't play any of my.
Don't ruin mine.
Don't ruin mine. But that's the thing. There's how do you say a cartoon? Not a cartoon in
the comic strips.
Comic strips, yeah. You can Google. I wrote it down. It's like the two things that really drew me to vinyl were the expense and the inconvenience. You have two audiophiles just staring at their gear, because it's true. I hate paying $80 Canadian to import an album, and you put it on your sound table and your turntable, sorry, and what you hear is static, surface noise, click and pops, and I'm not an audiophile, but I hear that, and I'm having a hard time listening to my music. What I do is the headphone test. I listen to the headphones, and I can hear how much this new album is dirty, and I paid a premium price for that album, and that kind of grates me. And also shipping. If it comes home with a bent corner, a crease corner, a seam split, it's like, my investment is burning away.
Well, see, one of the Day 6 albums, when I started collecting them, some of them were out of print. So I had to buy them from resellers. And like this one came up all like beaten up here and here. And I was so sad.
Because I'll pick up an album. And the first thing I do is like, the corners, are they sharp? Okay. Are there any seam split? Is it like scratch or whatever? And I know Francois is laughing because he's more of the anything goes kind of guy, and I'm like the picky collectioner. So I'll walk into a shop and I'll look, and if there's a crease in there, I'm gonna ask for a 10% down because that's true. But you know, I hate making decision choices. I need to buy like something to wash my albums because I hear the dirt in the grooves. So I need to start washing my albums, and it's like a step that I don't want to cross over because once I'm gonna open that door, I know I'm just gonna spend time washing records, cleaning them, drying them, storing them into a safe sleeve. That does sounds reassuring to me as I'm saying it.
You're on the verge of something really bad.
Yeah, I have to do it, but I just don't really have the time to do it. But I'll do it. And vinyl, whatever, a groove is just like you have your left channel and your right channel. And when the stylus reads and it's amplified with your preamp and whatever, when the sound is amplified. So if there's dirt in that little groove,
it's gonna change,
yeah, you're gonna hear it, and static is my main problem here in Canada. I don't know if it's dry weather, humid weather, the shipping, or whatever. But when I take off my album off my my turntable, the slip mat is stuck to it.
On it.
Yeah. So there's an anti-stat gun that sells for $150 that I did not buy yet. That would yet.
Let's finish the discussion with something really important we learned here. The industry creates static, so you buy new stuff.
No.
But seriously, that was really interesting to hear you because really, I really enjoy the music. I really enjoy album and stuff, but I really feel like the junkie here that take everything that pass because you are so specific about your stuff. Like I said, it's more than just the music. You have something around it.
Oh, yeah, I agree. The hunt, the collection, but it all stems from my love of music. So, and oftentimes bands that don't have album out on LP, I'll be bummed. Like, oh, the album is not on vinyl.
Sorry, man, I don't listen to you anymore.
I won't listen to you.
What? K-pop made me disappointed in all American albums and Canadian albums now, like CDs, because I find it really sad now getting a CD and it's just the booklet with the lyrics. No, not really any photos. When I get like 2 posters, 2 photo books, 5 cards with my K-pop albums.
That's
so I feel like now my standards are a little higher though.
Like, that's one thing with prog metal bands. It's like there's always a complete package with added bonus stuff, like the name of the pressing represents something from the lyrics, the colors mean something in the concept of the album. It's all tied together, and with a larger format, which is a pro because it's bigger, you can read better, but it's also a con because you need to store it. And I just recently in the pandemic found one of the old IKEA shelves that I had 2, and I found a third one online. I would periodically try and search on Kijiji for that friggin' shelves, and it popped up one day. I was so happy because I needed a third one. It's like 5 up. Now they're like they're 3, 4 like.
So it's not the same.
3 lines of 4. Anyway, whatever. So storage is a big con, but hope one day, like I said, I'll have a house with a dedicated listening room.
I mean, some of my things are so fat. Like this photo book isn't that bad, but I mean, this is massive. It's massive. It takes up so much room. But I think we pretty much covered the subject of today. So we'd like to know where you consume your music. So leave us a comment on our Facebook, on our Instagram, And check us out on YouTube if you want to see everything that we showed today. We showed a lot of stuff. Or you can check the little clips on Instagram. This was Sparkling Harmonies. We're your hosts, Lili.
And Francois.
And today we had François Carl here to discuss how we consume our music. So
thank you for having me on, guys. Thank you for
coming on. And so we'll be back in 2 weeks. So you can come back and listen to us then. Bye.
Bye.
Cheers.